football's become soft like our country has become soft.
And so having said that, I want me some glory hole.
I'm going to drink a lot of Budweiser tonight, Tracy, and I promise you that.
Hello? You play to win the game.
I hate football!
But Pat, how'd you punt so well today? Good question.
Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? Yes, I did. So I packed it up and brought it back to the crib.
Well, welcome to the first ever post-playoff edition of Laces Out Show. Fellas, my intention all weekend long was to go in chronological order, but I have a million questions about the best game of the weekend, probably the best game in the NFL this year, the Carolina game. I don't know where to begin, so let me begin with, what the hell happened to Cam Newton? Like he's 5 feet away from the sidelines and then collapses and then comes back in and plays his balls off. Was that just the NFL trying to hide a concussion? Was it really his eye? Could he not have just gone to the sidelines and then collapsed? There's a lot to talk about in this game, but I'm fascinated by whether he's a friggin' hero or whether he just pulled a drama queen move.
Listen, Captain Insano and not Billy Madison, what was it? The Water Boy taught us that a good poke in the eye can take any man down. I think it was just an eye problem. I think he was staggering, stumbling, fumbling, and Cam Newton is a little bit of a theatrical human being. I think he maybe just went down. If it was a concussion, I think it's another showcase of the concussion protocol failing. But what the concussion protocol, I don't know if it was the best game, by the way. What the Titans and Chiefs happened yesterday was absolutely incredible. I think we're just topic of conversation right now, but I absolutely loved Cam Newton coming back after that, delivering the goods, run CMC making a play, and them covering the 7-point spread like we all said they would. Sean Payton going for it on 4th down is wild. He also took the N64 and the ping pong table out of the locker room just so he could call a 4th and 2 call that ends up being an interception, which wasn't an interception, by the way. If they were to review that, that's an extra 20 yards of field position for the Carolina Panthers on the last drive. The entire officiating operation is fucked. I don't know how they fix it, but boy, what an exciting weekend, AJ.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on a guy that's retiring, but didn't you hear your boy Jeff Triplett is retiring after arguably one of his worst performances ever to end his career?
That's not one of his worst.
Curb stomped by Pereira. Pereira, who's made a nice living defending these guys, and every mistake they've ever made, he finds a phony excuse for it, and he must have known that Triplett was retiring. Otherwise, he would have defended the brand. He never would have attacked him like that. But hey, Triplett deserved it.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, no. Just quick, to jump to that game, to the Chiefs game, the biggest call that happened all weekend that possibly cost the Chiefs continuing their season was the Derek Thomas. Is it Derek Thomas?
Forward progress.
I'm sorry. The forward progress call. It was an amazing play where he annihilated Mariota and he stripped the ball. His knee was still up, but they had blown the whistle because his forward progress was stopped. I thought that was an absolutely asinine, terrible call by Triplett.
I don't think Triplett had that terrible performance. I think that was a very Triplett performance yesterday. I think he's been punishing the NFL for far too long. I think we should commend him on his service to the NFL, showing up every weekend and doing the little act of a ref. I think we appreciate him. But goddamn, there has to be better refs out there, with everything going. I mean, in the fucking Saints-Carolina game, old buddy from the sideline had to come running in and say, hey, it's a 10-second runoff, you fucking idiots, which Cam Newton was outside of the tackle box, by the way. It's just, everything is just so up for debate. It's almost like we need just a common sense review law to come in. Like, we shouldn't be reviewing shit that is like not even a question. Like John Gruden is a guy who's $100 million now. Jesus Christ, by the way. But he was right. Like, we just need to have some common sense. There's a Jumbotron right motherfucking there. Like, if they're like, well, they won't show the right angles. Well, then have an NFL guy up there whenever it goes to review to control the fucking Jumbotron. Make it happen. Bang, bang, make this quicker. It's just, I think the weekend was dominated by a couple great games, poor officiating, and now we know that this fucking playoffs is going to be incredible. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. There was only one game that was boring as shit, I thought, and that was the 10-3 game. I loved it, obviously. There was a lot of punting, but this was an incredible weekend, Jerry. Just an absolutely incredible weekend of football.
That in particular was a huge game for fans of punters.
Huge.
Because they weren't just ending every single drive. They were nailing people inside the 12. There was a couple that were inside the 6. You also had the bad call. Well, I think they ultimately got it right, but what's his name from the Bills, whether he'd stepped out of bounds and then came back in. The problem with that is they rely on the TV cameras only. And, Bill Belichick is my spirit animal. You know that I believe in everything he ever stands for, but he had a very simple proposal. Put cameras in the pylons at the corners of the end zone. Like, you send someone down to Radio Shack. Do they still have Radio Shacks? With like $500 in petty cash, and you can outfit the entire NFL with mini cameras. They have refused to do it because they said they can't afford it. Well, they do it in the Super Bowl. It would solve problems like whether a guy stepped in out of bounds or not.
I thought there was pylon cams. I thought there was pylon cams.
No, he's been asking for it for years, and they've literally said they can't afford it. And he said, well, maybe we just have like a bake sale or something to raise the money. Like, it's idiotic that you're relying on CBS's cameras, and if they don't have an angle, the whole world is fucked. Well, forget it. There's nothing we can do. They didn't have the angle. Let's just screw up the call.
I don't know how they don't have lasers yet either on the first down markers.
What about? Have you ever watched tennis, Pat? Every single shot in tennis, they can go to see if it was in or not, even on like the low level professional circuits, to where it's all lasered. Everything.
Yeah. The entire world is covered by security cameras now. You can't kill someone. You can't commit a crime. You can't be somewhere you're not supposed to be because someone has you on camera. Except an NFL field.
I'll tell you what, technology has really fucked the whole serial killers game completely. Yeah.
I was ready to get into it too, but I sit there all the time and go, again, I'm going to end up on TMZ or whatever, so
Dateline,
I'm just
bro.
going to have to swallow my rage instead of do something about it.
You should definitely hold it in. I think aneurysms are actually good for you. The Dateline show is one of my favorite shows on earth, by the way, and they do catch everybody. Speaking of murder, what they did to Alex Smith right before that game started yesterday, talking about how they're going to get rid of him basically right before the game starts, it comes out. Like, what a fucking situation for a professional quarterback. Because Alex Smith is filthy rich. He's dealt with this before, being forced out of a place and shit like that. But goddamn, you finally get the team in the playoffs feeling pretty good after a pretty good little ending to the season. Finding the ship, and boy, they're just talking about you getting run out of town, and then you go ahead and your game is an exact reflection of your season. Exact reflection of the season. Yeah. And then bang, now Alex Smith is gone. See you later. Who knows if he'll ever play again.
Looked like a blowout early on, 21-3. I think it's in history of the playoffs, road teams have come back from down by 18 or more points like twice. Literally twice. And one of those times was 1957. And, tons of credit to Tennessee. I thought that was a game that started out like white hot garbage, and they fought back. I also think the next playoff round in the AFC is going to be a mess. Like, let's just get to Pittsburgh at New England.
You know what, though? Ben threw 5 picks or whatever against that Jacksonville defense. Now, granted, they have Le'Veon Bell who can expose their D-line and everything like that. But god damn, that Jacksonville defense, for as shitty as Buffalo and Jacksonville played, a 10-3 game has to be a testament of some sort of good defense. Obviously the offense has to be shitty at some point. My dad sent me a text and said, how is Buffalo even? Tyrod Taylor can't hit the side of a fucking wall if he hits. My dad sent me that text, who boycotted the NFL for like the first 8 weeks, by the way. So my dad had no clue what was going on with the NFL. So Tyrod Taylor turns out to be an incredibly athletic human, obviously. You got a hobbled LaShawn McCoy. You got a lot of things going on with Buffalo, but still to hold a team to 3 points in a playoff is impressive. You think the Steelers are just going to walk right over Saxonville, huh?
Look, I for all the respect I have for that defense, and I give them credit for they wrote big checks this offseason. Calais Campbell is a stud. I still can't believe a guy his size can play defensive end. I love that about him. AJ Boye was the most heavily sought after cornerback on the market. But I don't trust Blake Bortles to go up to Pittsburgh and win. He was atrocious. He outran his passing. That's not a formula for winning in the postseason.
He threw 87 yards. It's not good. I almost threw for 87 yards one game. The thing about Blake Bortles, though, is I think he has a lot of self-awareness. Like, whenever he was playing terrible early, they actually caught him quoting, saying, "What the fuck am I doing?" Did you see that, AJ? He was walking off the field, and he actually said, "What the fuck am I doing?" I think he has a lot of self-awareness, and I think he got maybe the yips out of him. I think we're going to see a very different Blake Bortles next week, but I have no clue how anybody is going to walk through the Steelers or the Patriots in the AFC. But the NFC, I'm excited to watch the NFC now all of a sudden with the Falcons getting back into the fucking game. What about that game? I thought the Rams were going to fucking mop the floor with that goddamn team, and that did not happen. AJ, you've been on the Falcons side this entire season. You've been literally dangling from their jockstraps the entire season. You love them down there, and they showed up last night.
Of course. I told you they would. I'm not saying the Rams aren't good. They're going to be good for a while. They have Goff. Their offense plays well. Their defense is really, really good. They have Aaron Donald, who's not even human. He's unblockable at all times. But I told you, the Falcons have so much. They have so much, like, they're underrated guys. Did you see a guy, number 12, Mo Sanu? Have you guys ever watched him? He's like a Julio Jones clone. There's two of them out there, and he runs. He's such an aggressive guy with the ball after he catches. Runs dudes over. He's an absolute stud. They have guys that people haven't even heard of that are monsters. That would be number one receivers, number one backs, starters all over the league, be superstars on other teams, and they just have them almost at every position. So if Matt Ryan can get somewhat back to his MVP form that he had last season, it's going to be a Patriots-Falcons matchup again in the Super Bowl.
You know, you're right about their 1 and 2 receivers, AJ, and I'm not going to sleep on their third guy. Taylor Gabriel, I think, is sneaky good. And I know my worldview is still slanted by last year's Super Bowl, but when the Patriots were coming back, he was the one guy on that field for them making huge plays. He was coming up with third downs. He was balling out. He almost single-handedly sealed the deal for them. So, you know, you got a 1-2 back combination. The defense played surprisingly well. I mean, let me ask you this about
the Rams. Weren't the Rams the highest scoring offense in the NFL?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they held them to 13 points at their stadium as well in the playoffs.
Yeah, at their stadium doesn't mean shit, by the way. You and I both know that.
I know. Home field advantage it may be the most overrated thing on the planet. I agree 100%.
Well, especially when it comes to the fucking Los Angeles Rams. I mean, those people, they have Snoop Dogg there. He's a diehard Steelers fan. They're like marketing that Snoop Dogg's there, and they're like Fox is like, Snoop is in the his A. I'm like, yeah, he's a Steelers fan. Like, what are we doing here? They're trying to build up their fan base, so I don't think that's really that big of a deal. How'd you feel about that field, though? That lot of slipping and falling all over the goddamn place. You hate that, AJ, obviously?
Awful. How do you have an NFL stadium? Each team is worth $2+ billion, and you can't figure out the grass situation.
Yeah, it was spray painted. Am I right? I mean, they people dye grass. Like I've read friggin' landscaping books where they suggest a lot of homeowners do it. And once people are covered in grass stains, that tells me that's paint.
But there's no excuse. They're in Southern California. If you were in outdoors in Minnesota or Green Bay, Wisconsin, you may give them a little bit of leeway because the sun hasn't come out in 3 months. You're in Southern California.
Yeah.
It rains twice a year. They got enough money to water it. There's no reason for the grass to be awful, worse than high school stadiums. I understand they play college games there. It doesn't matter. I just don't. It's not an excuse.
It's the Paradise City. The grass is green, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a specific question for both of you about what the Rams did. You know, AJ, who went to a lot of playoff series, you ran away with your division a lot of times. Pat, you were on a team that shut it down because they didn't want to go 16-0.
Yeah.
The Rams took the last week of the season off and then did jack squat in the first half of the game. Is it with that offense they couldn't get anything going? Do you believe that you lose your momentum when you rest starters?
See, when I was there, whenever we took the last 2 weeks off, we had such an older team, a veteran team, so the weeks off were big for them. It was almost like a full treatment, rehab, get people healthier as they can be. But they're also, you're talking about that offense, Peyton Manning, Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne. You're talking about a group of dudes that were together for a long time, so you can take that time off and just hop back into it. But the practices those last 2 weeks were like ones versus ones. They were like little 30-minute games that were going good on good. So it's like they were still getting those reps and practices good on good. It just wasn't happening on Sunday at the games. And I think we played the Jets and the fucking Buffalo Bills in the middle of a blizzard. So those weeks leading up to it, the guys got a lot of rest, a lot of rehab, a lot of recovery, but a couple times each week of those down weeks, we should say, they want one-on-one good versus good, so they kept up the rhythm and shit like that. I think maybe the Rams might be too young of a team to do that. I think maybe you take a week off, you kind of lose everything like that, but I have no clue. If they win that game, it's never talked about. Just like we took those 2 weeks off, and then we made it to the Super Bowl, and it was never talked about. It's all about what happens. It's just like Sean Payton going for it on 4th and 2. If they get that 4th down, he's a genius, absolute genius. Everything is so selective on if it works or if it doesn't work, and it's just a big deal. But I'm not sure how like a real position player feels. AJ, if you were to take off a week or two at the end of the season when you were younger, do you think you would have lost something? Do you think you would have taken advantage of it, or do you think you would have abused it a little bit?
I wouldn't have abused it, but there's no real way to take advantage of it, no matter what age I was. If I'm hurt, I'm not getting healthy in 9 days. That's not getting me healthy. You may get your legs back a little bit, but not really. You just got done with basically 20 weeks of football if you count training camp and your preseason games. So you can't really get healthy. If a guy has an ankle sprain, something like that, maybe he's trying to come back from a little hamstring pull or something, that extra 7-8 days can help. But I think it's more of like a mindset thing. We were in that situation a lot to where the last 3 weeks of the season, 2-3 weeks, you're thinking, okay, that'd be great if we can get a bye. What are we going to do this last game? Maybe the last 2 games. I don't know. Is Aaron going to start? If he does that, if he doesn't start, then you have other players saying, well, if he's not playing, I don't want to play. I'm not going to go in there and play if our starting quarterback's not. And so you have this weird dynamic. I think coaches, there's no right way to handle it, but I think there's something too having to like scratch your way in, like the Falcons have had to do. It's something about it. It keeps your momentum going. There's no like exact science. I think it's subjective on what kind of team you have. If you have an older team, yeah, they can handle it. Sometimes a younger team can handle it. You never know, but it's just, I don't know. I like when you have to play your way into it. We had buys and kind of had coasted into the playoffs a few times and didn't play really well. I don't know if it would have changed if we would have played every snap of that last game of the regular season. Who knows? But there's something about that momentum that I think like the Falcons have right now.
Playoff games are so cool. It's so cool. The feeling the day after a playoff victory is so cool because it's really all season you hope to build up your team in a camaraderie state. But like the day after you win a playoff game, where now how many teams are left? There's fucking 8 teams left? How many teams are left? 16, 8 teams are left now?
Yep.
So you're sitting around thinking 24 teams, okay, are now at home. We're the only people left. That's like a really cool feeling. So I'm not sure, like, taking days off, taking a game off prevents you from suffering a gigantic, catastrophic injury in that game. So I think that definitely helps. But, man, in the playoffs, the way you feel after a win is better than any time. I mean, it's just like everybody's all in. The speed from preseason to regular season is eye-opening, okay, whenever you're a rookie. Like, whenever I did a kickoff in a preseason game and I watched these humans run down the field, I was like, wow, this is so much faster than college. Then I kicked off in a regular season game, and I was like, holy fuck, these dudes are flying. There's just car crashes happening everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. That was back whenever the kickoff was from the 30. Then we get into the playoffs, and the speed was just ramped up even more. And then you get to the Super Bowl, and it's like, holy fuck. It seems as if you've never seen humans run this fast or hit this hard because it's like do or die. It's win or go home. It's as cliche as it is, but it's real. It's like, let's not leave anything out there. And then when you get an opportunity to do it again, it's just like such a cool feel. The playoffs are the only reason you play for. It is just to have meaningful games in December and to have meaningful playoff games through January. It's so cool. It's such the cool part of the gig. It's the only part that doesn't feel like a job. So that's why I don't know if the sitting out thing is a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea.
And that's why I'm sorry, go ahead, AJ.
Oh, the biggest scam that I realized when we had the first time we had a first round bye was that you don't get paid for that. When you have a bye, you don't get paid for that game.
It's hysterical. Absolutely. Everybody gets paid the same thing throughout the playoffs. If you get a bye, you do not get paid. You got a lot of people taking gigantic pay cuts. So, like, the quarterbacks of the NFL and, like, the DNs and big corners, all the high-end motherfuckers who take up 80% of your salary cap, those dudes are taking a big pay cut whenever it gets into playoffs, but it's an extra $100,000 if you can run it up to the Super Bowl.
Wait, that just broke my brain. So you get the bye week. The guys who are playing are getting paid
like 24. I think it's 26,000 for the first round right now. I think.
Okay, so if you're a wild card team who goes to the Super Bowl, so
that's the best way to do it.
4 games.
The year we won the Super Bowl, we had to win 3 road games and then win the Super Bowl. We won them all, obviously. That's the way to do it. You don't have a bye, so you make an extra 26 grand or whatever.
Yeah, it's an extra 100,000 altogether, like 110,000 or something altogether. By the way, you think that's fucked up? Like, I have to buy my jerseys from the Colts. I had to buy my jerseys from the Colts. I had to buy my tickets every game, obviously. Like, there's no giveaways here in the NFL. You made what you made, and this is bonus football for you. If you ain't playing, you ain't getting paid. You ain't playing, we ain't paying. That's what they say.
The Colts jersey #1 that says your name on the back, you had to pay for.
Yeah, both of them. $250 a piece, $500. One blue one, one white one. I had to steal one year. I was voted captain. The first year Chuck came, they did an actual team vote. Okay. And in the locker room, I was a pretty chatty person. I got along with just about everybody. In special teams, you have to. So they did an actual team vote, and I was voted captain, right? And so I have my jersey with a C on it, which is a big deal. We make a run. We do our whole thing. And I had to steal that jersey because I knew they were never going to let me be voted captain again. So I knew I was never going to happen again. By the end of the season, Grigson had hated me so much, and I knew they didn't let me break down a single huddle in like 4 years, AJ, after practice or anything. Not a one. So I just had to steal that jersey, and I ended up getting charged for that like fucking 2 months later because it didn't come back. So I got like a $250 charge real quick for my jersey.
That's the company store. You know, that's like some Depression era shit before like the federal laws started protecting workers. You know what I mean? Like where you get paid at the mill, but you can only buy your groceries from the fucking mill owner.
Well, it's wild. That's why I tell everybody to buy a jersey because I ain't seeing a single fucking dollar from those jersey sales. Buy a jersey. It says that you like to party a lot more. I think, I don't know how the Patriots are going to play. I don't know how Tom's played like shit through December, right? Hasn't he, Jerry?
Relative to him, yes, but he also led them to 3-1 and had a fourth quarter comeback against the Steelers. So if he's playing like shit, it's a relative.
Do you think the Titans have any chance next week?
I really don't. Like, I'm looking for aside from the obvious, someone gets hurt, you know, an act of God or whatever, but across the board, they are an average team.
Jerry, the only person that matters that gets hurt is Tom Brady. If Tom Brady gets hurt, that's the way the Titans have a chance. And they can lose anybody else and still be fine.
What if Belichick gets hurt? Nobody talks about that. Todd Haley broke his pelvis at a bar.
Yeah, but
people forget that.
Protecting his wife, though. He's a man, honorable man. Supposedly there was an altercation with his wife.
I guess those two like to fuck other people too. I guess like that's a big thing. I guess they're like a big swinging relationship.
Allegedly?
No, I think it's pretty certainly. I think that one's out. I think in Pittsburgh that one's out and about. But him protecting his lady at Tequila Cowboy, a place that I've been to within the last month. I can understand how things get wild in there. Any place that has a mechanical bull or one of them punching things is very liable to get upside motherfucking down at any given moment. Todd Haley acted like a hero in that moment, broke his pelvis, and now he's going to coach from a wheelchair possibly.
Hey, Pat, are you trying to tag in, or what are you doing? You throwing your name in the hat?
No. I was approached by a swinger couple on a cruise one time. And I turned it down just because there was no exit if I happened to piss off that man. There's only one way out of a cruise, buddy, and that's overboard. You know what I mean?
I always
they propositioned you, no, like for real?
Yeah, night 1. It was like morning 2. At night 1, they won me over.
How do they present that? How do you present that to somebody?
They slid me their key. Okay, so night 1, I go back to my room. It's like 3 a.m. The person I was with there was with a woman in our cruise room. You know, those rooms are tiny. So I was like, okay, I'll just let him do his thing. I'm going to go down to the casino real quick. Casino was closed except for one couple in the backside. One couple had it open, right? And I was like, can I gamble? And they're like, no, this is closed or whatever. And they invited me over. They were in the like the captain's suite at the top of the boat. So these people were worth a lot of money. This older white couple. So they invite me over to sit at their table. It's me, them, and like 40 cruise workers in this casino. And we're just telling stories. They're giving me beer at this point. The wife like delivered me beer one time. I knew it was a weird situation, but I was just like, hey, this is friendly stuff. First night of the cruise. Here I am. Look at me. King of the castle. King of the castle. Jerry just left. So I go through the whole thing. I do the whole thing. In the next morning, I'm out at the pool. One of them sits on one side of me, the other one sits on the other side of me, and they slide me a key, and they're like, we're at the top of the ship if you ever want to come have some fun with us. And I just kind of kept it moving. I was like, you got it. You got it. I'm out of here.
But did you give it like later that night when you had just got done shotgunning 40 beers, did you try to stumble and find the room?
Was there real thought about it at any time? Yeah. I mean, there were some mistakes to be made at one point. I thought about it. But what if I disrespect that man somehow and I get tossed overboard? My life is over at that exact. I can't swim, AJ. Last time I swam, I ended up in jail, allegedly.
Well, when you say disrespecting that man, do you mean by not servicing him after you service his wife?
Well, it's not even. I mean, what are you even asking there?
You got two dudes in there. What do you mean?
They clearly told me he just wanted to watch.
He wants to hold the camera and the tripod in the corner?
Yeah, he wanted to watch from the corner. And I was just like, yo.
But what's he doing while watching?
That's what I said. And I said, is he going to come in? And if he comes in, who's he coming in? I want to know. These are the things that I need to know. I don't need any slipsty-wooski right in the middle of any operation. You know what I mean, AJ?
I mean, this is intriguing to me.
I said no, though, by the way, because I'm a man of class. People forget that. That was young me, too. That was before I got arrested me. I was fucking living back then, bro. Living. We missed the fucking checkport back into the cruise one. We had to take a ferry to the next island the next day, and we got fined by the cruise because we didn't meet the check-in time. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I ate mushrooms.
Awesome.
I ate mushrooms on some island down there. What was the name of that island? Do you remember that place? I told this story a few times. There's an island down there in the Caribbean that I eat mushrooms, and it's like their thing. And, boy, I missed the whole cruise checkpoint back. I'll never go on another cruise again because of it. I mean, it was a bad situation.
Yeah. I'm with you. You know what you probably were you wearing your Tommy John underwear?
I was not. You should power through this, though, and we got to call Jerry back.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. You know what you do, Pat? Let's start your new year.
It's not a bad show here, by the way. This is not a bad show. This is not a bad show here.
I know. That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about? You're trying to like not do it. No, we're good. We're all right.
R.I.P. and peace to Jerry's online service.
Polar Vortex got Jerry. But guess what, Jerry? While Jerry's back home trying to get his connection going, how about everybody starts their new year by upgrading their old uncomfortable underwear to Tommy John, the revolutionary comfort company for the modern man. When was the last time you said, hey, I love my underwear? Probably never, right, Patrick? I bet you never have said that unless you're wearing your Tommy Johns.
Right,
but
right.
When you switch to Tommy John, like I did, you'll be saying just that. I'm going to send you a few. They'll send you a few in the mail. So Tommy John is committed to providing mind-blowing comfort, not just in their underwear, but in all of their incredible apparel. They have unparalleled comfort. Tommy John's innovative designs and patent fabrics ensure that your underwear will never ride up, the waistband will never roll down, which happens to some people, doesn't it, when they gain a few pounds, doesn't it, Pat?
All right, just go on with your fucking thing, your underwear. Don't need to talk about fat shaming right now. You don't need to fat shame me right now, okay? Alpha J Hawk.
Wasn't talking to you.
It sure sounded like it, didn't it? Boy, it felt like it.
Well, last week we had to talk about your picture on the internet from your stand-up show. But we'll just move on. We'll power through that, right? Okay? Your waistband will never roll down, and you'll never get a wedgie, which I'm guessing is good for you as well with the hemorrhoid situation. So
enough. Are we not? Is this not a Tommy John ad? Enough.
Is this not a Tommy John read? I mean, come on, let's get to the hoss. What are we doing? It's real Pittsburgh when you get all mad.
Jerry Thornton just texted, logging on. I froze up. I'm rebooting. And then 2 minutes later, fricking Skype. Skype. What a human.
Their best pair guarantee. If you don't love them, if you don't love it on you, it is on them. Tommy John re-engineered underwear so you never have to adjust. No more distractions, picking wedgies, or rearranging your situation down there. They stay completely nestled at all times. Listen, I've tried all kinds of different underwear brands trying to find the perfect fit, and Tommy John is simply the best there is, without question. They got an entire line of comfortable clothing at Tommy John. It has undershirts that say tucked, socks that never fall down, and just wait till you check out They're nice, soft T-shirts. Imagine soft, smooth, luxurious fabric that never shrinks or stretches out. Because sometimes you got to get it to stretch out when you're doing one man's health cover of a video magazine.
Well, I'm not getting a cover. We all know that. AJ Hawk maybe gets the cover. I'm just getting a little paragraph, and I think I've lost that because of one man's health and one man's body. That was getting fat shamed during an ad read by Alpha J Hawk.
That's precisely what you get in a Tommy John Second Skin tee. Plus, all Tommy John underwear is backed by the best pair you'll ever wear, or it's free guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. Hurry to TommyJohn.com/laces and get 20% off your first order. That's TommyJohn.com/laces for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/laces.
It's incredible. I love their underwear, by the way. I really do.
It's tough, man. We were talking about you buying your jerseys, so I'm still going with a lot of the underwear I got from the facility.
The tights. You go with the tights.
Yeah, the black. I started out with the grays when I first got in the NFL. We called them the grays, the old Reebok NFL equipment stuff.
Yeah.
But then when I started transitioning to tighter fitting clothing, like the Euro cut after Ryan Gosling had that movie, I had to switch to like the boxer brief tights, and I outfitted my brother with them, everyone. So I have to get Tommy John because there's holes in them. They're old now.
I was a tights wearer for a long time. Still alternate in the tights when I run out of Tommy John. But Tommy John is the closest thing I've realized to the tights that really keeps the whole kit and caboodle in one perfect fit. It's like a hug for your thighs and for your kits. And you wear your underwear the most. People forget that. You wake up in the morning, you put that on first, you take it off last. You might as well make it great with Tommy John.
I do wear Tommy John the most, my underwears.
All right, let's call.
Hey, have you seen Pittsburgh Dad on YouTube?
Yeah.
You like him?
He got to run.
When was he from? I'm out.
He's like 10 years old now at this point.
Is he? I just love because McCarthy in Green Bay is from Pittsburgh, so he just Haas all the time and all the Pittsburgh.
Every once in a while, when McCarthy gets rolling and he gets into a real Pittsburghese, it starts sounding real good over there.
I love the Yinzers.
Aaron Rodgers love Yinzers, or what? He's dating Danica, by the way. You're welcome for the heads up. I gave you a heads up.
Thanks.
Have you guys gone on a double date yet? Like you and your wife and Aaron and Danica?
No.
Should I expect an invite from either of your couple, you or him, for me and my lady to go on a double date, or will that ever happen? Or you think?
Oh man, you never know, bro. He was actually he just left today. He was here in Columbus. He should have came.
What was he in Columbus for?
I don't know. Stopping on his way back to California.
Stop it. Did he see you?
Yeah, he stayed here for a few days.
No way. Don't believe it. You're lying right now. Sounds like you're lying.
Okay, I'm lying.
My best friend stayed at your house, and you didn't FaceTime me or call me one time.
You're right. I did mention you though one time.
This really happened? I fucking hate you. Hang up. Call Jerry back. I need a real friend in this conversation. Unbelievable. This is outrageous.
You're right. I can't believe I didn't FaceTime. You're right. That's a missed opportunity. I'm sorry.
You're not, though. You're not sorry.
This
is outrageous.
I mean, thinking back now, maybe, yeah, I still wouldn't have, but I didn't think of it.
I hate him.
Hey, I hate him.
You, of course, not Aaron. Big fan of Aaron.
Oh, I know. Your new best friend.
Well, I didn't even. The fact that he didn't even think about FaceTiming you through, like when he was there, it kind of makes me upset now even more.
What do you mean, FaceTiming you?
Yeah, the fact that he didn't bring it up to you, like, hey, let's FaceTime Pat. That kind of pisses me off.
Pat, you're the only FaceTimer I know.
That's why I thought he would say, hey, let's FaceTime Pat. That's what I thought would happen.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. I got it. It would be, no.
What do you do? Just stop by? He stayed with you guys and the kids?
Oh, yeah. Kids, yeah. My kids shoot Nerf guns. Yeah, he loves it.
Fellas, you got me again?
Oh, yeah. Sounded good, Jerry.
Dude.
Sounded really good.
Sounded good. What do you mean?
Who's
no?
Literally. Why are you out of breath? What'd you do?
No, I'm literally sitting here and it just froze. That's it. I sound out of breath. Like
when you run up on the roof, what happened? Yeah.
No, I sat here and I had to reboot the goddamn computer like an asshole. Have you done your ad read yet?
Yeah, get that 1996 Dell laptop out of there and get a Mac.
There's nothing wrong with this friggin' computer. It's just I don't know what happened. Where are we at? I mean, we're clearly going to have to edit out of this.
I did Tommy John.
Okay.
Pat interrupted me multiple times.
I wanted to hear all about Pat's almost swinging affair, but I don't want us to circle back to that if we've exhausted the topic.
We kind of finished that, yeah, because Pat finished the dad or the husband and got upset.
Damn. The topic fascinates me in that morbid curiosity way. Like, how do you even begin to do that? How do you float that idea past your spouse and have them like reject it and then ever go back to normal? You know,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works. I'm not sure. I don't get it.
I live in a town where it's rumored all the time, and I know that it's gone on and it's been confirmed. And it's like, how do you even look each other in the eye after that? I don't know. But anyway,
it becomes a business. It becomes a business agreement. I feel like
people are into all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah,
they really are.
People like getting pissed on. I mean, that happens.
People like Kelly.
Drip, drip, drip.
Like,
you ever dig deep in the annals of those porn sites? You find some people into some weird shit. The fact that married couples are having sex with others, although it is very weird, it's nowhere near dressing up in like a dog costume and fucking each other. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you could get over that. You're telling me. I mean, yeah, that's really weird. But how would you ever erase that out of your brain if you were in the corner?
Watching somebody else have my lady, just have his way with my lady, I would not be able to.
Some guys like that. Some guys get off on being cucked.
Yeah, that's like
yeah. And I mean that the sites are full of stuff like that. There's a sex advice podcast where I heard a guy just say, "Oh yeah, if cucked is your thing, I'm not going to judge." But go on those sites and explore that and meet people who are into that. I'm like, what?
I was invited.
How is that more fun?
I was invited to a swingers hotel too one time. Pretty good.
See, in theory, there's sort of this idealized version of it that sounds like it would be fun, but then you see the people who are actually into it. It's like if you've ever been to some foreign country where they have nude people on the beach.
No, it's terrible.
It's never the people you want to see.
You're right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. I think, AJ, you're too attractive for them to ask you. It's like I'm at the right ugly level where it's like the wife is like, yeah, I guess I could do him. And the husband's like, yeah, I'll never get jealous of that guy. You know what I mean? So that's why I get asked not all the time. This is much when I was younger. I don't get asked anymore.
No, it has nothing to do with looks. I think you have that vibe. Like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, a guy can tag in. There's no way of knowing. He'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah, this guy will do whatever.
He's into some freaky shit. Like, check out that guy. I've seen his allegedly picture. He'll do anything. I feel like with my wife and I, there's such a disparity in our looks that the other wife would get totally ripped off in the deal. Like, there'd have to be cash considerations and like a husband to be named later. Like, we could never get the trade to work out.
Can you hit the camera on your computer so we could see you?
Jerry. What happened?
Dude, seriously.
Just bopping around figuring out how to use his camera right now is next level.
No, I've been doing this for 18 weeks, fellas. I'm operated exactly the same way as I always have. I don't know why it's not working out. I'll plug and unplug.
Jerry, oh no, I just wanted to add, I know the answer, but what if Belichick called you and said, hey, I'd like to jump in on the Irish Rose?
Oh, I've made it clear to her that if that were the case, we've had this conversation. I go, you owe him at least that. I feel like any Patriots fan owes him. Like, remember in Braveheart where the king had the writ of prima nocte, where he got to sleep with your wife on your wedding night? I think that's the least that any Patriots fan would do.
I was wondering maybe dog is not your wife.
What if halfway through he's like, hey, Jerry, come on, tag on in with me.
Jerry, I'm into 2-time now. We run double option.
I'd say it, and then afterwards I'd say to him, some things you did well, some things you didn't do well. Got to get better in all three phases. Not really going to know until I look at the film.
Jerry, the fact that your wife has been told by you that she must fuck Bill Belichick if that situation ever pops up. I don't know if it makes me judge you differently or what I think now, but I'm excited to read that book of yours that you've written. I'm excited. Your loyalty to this man and that team is second to none. I'm not sure there's many people like that. I think that's an impressive thing.
I appreciate that. I know I sent you copies of the earlier book. You got it, right?
Yep, got it. It just arrived last week. I cannot wait to dig into it. I mean, I've never read a book in my entire life. So I am certain that I would dig into it, but I am going to find, hopefully, the audio. Is there an audio version of it?
There is.
That's just like a podcast then. I'm in.
Yeah,
I'll listen to a Jerry Thornton podcast.
Not read by me, but read by an actor from Boston who does a lot of voiceover work. I've
Mark
had beers
Wahlberg,
with the guy, super solid guy.
Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's reading it. I got it.
Yeah, no, he lost that gig when he walked out of the Super Bowl.
His kid was sick, Jerry.
Yeah, he's changed that story, by the way. It went from his kid was sick to his kid was throwing a fit and upset about the game. It's like, okay, Wahlberg, yeah, I'm so into this team that I had to take my kid out of the stadium. Not a chance. If they were down,
he would never let Belichick fuck his wife. He would never let Belichick fuck his wife, Jerry.
Well, that's the test, isn't it? That's to prove whether you're truly loyal. That's like it should be part of the citizenship test. Like when you take that oath, you should be willing to at least give over your wife to Belichick. And she would object, but she'd say, you know what, it's important to you. She's a good sport in that way.
I think we just got in fucking your wife right here. I was give your wife in the middle of the room there.
I bet he's a tiger. And you've seen his honey, right? You've seen his honey. She is an absolute cougar. And as a matter of fact, her name is Linda, and they've used Linda and cougar as offensive calls at the line of scrimmage. Like, Linda Rita. They've used cougar to mean whatever. Like they've
Dilly Dilly, by the way, Alex Smith did a Dilly Dilly check, just like Ben Roethlisberger has in years past. I thought my Titans bet was a disaster as soon as that happened. AJ, how far in advance do you know the quarterback's checks?
You know them. They change them a lot, but you know a decent amount of them.
Do you have a guy that listens to TV copy and goes through them and then tells you what they are?
When I first got in the league, they didn't, but as I got older and they started miking up the center and the refs and you could really hear all the calls, then there's always you have a clip of the TV copy, the checks in their different calls and their hand signals with like the verbals that you can pick up over the TV copy. So there's a guy that some poor guy has to watch the TV copies and listen to your boy Jay Feely on the sideline and try to pick up the QB checks.
He's so terrible. The wind is swirling, so it's going in different directions. Back to you, Jim.
Yep. As Tom Watson said, when it's breezy, swing easy, so that you don't get such a tight rotation on the ball. Like you're talking about a place kicker.
No, you should never swing easy.
Is he saying that the place kickers need to gently nudge the ball towards the goalposts?
The amount of explosion that has to happen, by the way, to launch a football, as far as guys do in the NFL, is I think mind-blowing. I think people, that's why everybody goes in their backyard. They can play catch. They can throw the ball average. Any one of them who tries to kick it, though, 95, 98, 99% of the people are so god-awful at kicking a ball because there's no explosion. That's why I don't think kids should start kicking when they're young. I think they should play soccer, build up their leg strength, because you're going to suck if you don't have a leg, and it's going to be zero fun. Get a monster hanging from your hip and go out there and start banging the thing, because the swing easy thing, I've never heard a dumber comment in my life, because for golf Pat, it works because you take out you're taking out your hands. So when you swing easy, you're taking out your hands out of it, I think, is what people mostly think.
No.
Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus says everyone swings way too easy. Just swing hard. That's stupid. That's another myth. But
I've won and lost against the best. This old road's been a hell of a test, but I'm still driving. I ain't slowing down. There's rules I like to break and bend, mistakes I've made again and again, but I'll tell you this, my friends, I'm still around. I hit it hard, man.
John Daly.
Daly.
Hey, how about your boy Matt Bryant 87 years old, 4 for 4 with a 54-yard long today, or yesterday for the Falcons.
Was it 54 or 51? Whatever it was a
His
bomb.
I think he had a 54 and a 51, but his long was 54.
He kicks terrible form too. Like his form is not one that anybody would want to learn how to do. But motherfucker is so consistent. It's incredible. He
can boot. I think he's 43, 44, and he
42,
can dominate. No, well, who cares? It's still old.
40 still old as fuck to do anything. Let's not like in the real. Every time I say Vinatieri's old, like everybody I start getting tweets. Obviously, and Facebook really turns it up on it. They go like 40 isn't old. Like I get it. 40 isn't old for the real world. Let's all hope that we live till we're fucking Hancock's age, okay? But in the NFL, 30, you make it to 30, you're getting old. You make it to 35, you're an old fucking bastard. You make it 40 plus, your body doesn't react the same way. So the fact that these old motherfuckers, Vinatieri, Phil Dawson, and Matt Bryant, can still bang the ball is so impressive to me. And with Matt Bryant's form being as awful as it is, it looks like he's breaking his ankle every time he kicks and he hops sideways, which goes against everything you're supposed to do. And he's just so consistent and so powerful. It's an impressive thing. It's a really impressive thing. And having an old guy like that who's been there, done that is really good for the playoffs. Those types of situations are a guy that you want that are good. That's like the Ficken. You can't just bring a guy off the street out of nowhere. Like it just drop him into a playoff situation. That's a big fucking situation. You got to have a guy who's been there, done that, tried and true, going to get through it because, man, you lose, you go home, Jerry. You lose, you go home. And now, granted, that's your first off season in a long time, and you love the off season a lot. So it's not like it's that horrible, but it definitely sucks to lose if you've made it that far.
It's do or die. Your back's to the wall. There will be no tomorrow. Pat, what's it like for a guy like Vinatieri? He was drafted in 1996.
Yeah.
So there were guys on the team that weren't born when he was a rookie, playing for Bill Parcells and going to the Super Bowl against Green Bay. How odd is it for him to be among a roster full of guys like that? It must be impossible for him to just relate or have conversations or whatever.
Well, I think with the modern day, the way it is, how much has changed drastically here in like the 5-6 years of social media and everything. I think that has been the most difficult. What's it called? Relatability. That's been the most difficult relatability, I think, for Vinatieri. Does that make sense? Nah. I think that's been the hardest thing for him to relate with the younger guys in. But Vinatieri has so much respect from everybody as soon as they get in there. Now, granted, some dumbasses think he's like a fucking coach because he has that big beard. They don't know who he is, and then they hear his name. They're like, oh, shit. The name Vinatieri just warrants respect, and Vinny's a super cool dude, so he enjoys those conversations. I really think that everybody kind of looks up to him, not like he's a dad, but more like a big brother who's just been there, done that for everything. That's how I kind of look at it, and I think he's starting to dress real like he hit that midlife crisis hard like in the last couple of years. He started wearing like bracelets and shit. He wore Gucci loafers to Baltimore Christmas week. I mean, Vinny is a cool motherfucking dude. I think he's hitting that crisis. I almost bought him a red Corvette for fucking Christmas that year because he was dressing so absurd. Like he got this stylist. He was doing this whole thing like trying to dress young. I almost bought him a red Corvette. I'm like, bro, you were going through the midlife crisis right now. Like it is my job as a friend to make you have every stereotypical thing you can have. But he gets along with everybody. He's cool. Everybody likes him. But those are the types of guys. Like in playoffs, you want to have that just dependable option, especially at a position like kicker. But when like Chris Boswell has had an incredible year, like the Steelers feel real good going into it with him. But like the Rams, that was something they didn't have. The Falcons have it. The Titans have a great kicker. The Patriots obviously have a guy who's been there, done that with everything, including a 64-yarder in Mexico and Gostkowski. I'm excited to watch these guys go to work. I cannot wait to watch the rest of the playoffs, Jerry. I can't fucking wait.
Same here. Now, there's a thing that comes out every new college year where schools talk about what the new incoming freshmen, what their worldview is. So, kids this age have never used the phone with a cord. They've never not had a smartphone, whatever it is. Vinatieri is that guy. Like, he's that guy who has to be told, you can't sit there and say, oh, that's like a broken clock, or, that's like a broken record, because kids have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. But you know what?
The good thing about having Vinny is, like, when he sees something that's fucked up, because he's literally seen everything. He's very like, yeah, like, hey, that's fucked up. Like, hey, this is not the good. It's such a good person to lean on. But I was at Applebee's yesterday. No free ads, but here's a free ad. Service was terrible. Service was absolutely horrendous. I don't know how Applebee's used to be a steadfast of the McAfee family whenever we were doing whatever we were doing. And I used to have some of my most joyous evenings at an Applebee's. And then now I go in there, everybody's miserable, everybody's down. Everybody seemed to be miserable, but the food was incredible. I mean, the food was really good.
All right, so
but it said on the sign
that Applebee's isn't paying you to say that their service sucks.
No. Although in my ad
so
reads,
you do endorsement deal.
Although in my style of ad reads, that is very possible that would happen. But because I would come back on the other side and be like, but their food is great. They had a sign that was like January 1997 is like now the legal age or whatever, and I'm like, holy fuck. People that were born in January of 1997, whatever the day was, are 21 years old now. I feel like a fucking artifact, bro. I feel like a fucking dinosaur at this moment, Jerry. And that's Vinny's in the league every single day with 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds, just handling his business.
Yeah, walk a mile in my moccasins, pal. You know, when the first time guys your age are no longer pro athletes, that's like this milestone. And then when guys that you grew up watching get to like go to the Hall of Fame or whatever, I've now seen the entire careers of guys who I saw their dads play. Like
Vinny played
Ken
with the kid's
Griffey
dad.
Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. is in the Hall of Fame. That's when you know. That's when you know you're an old fuck.
Vinny played with the kid's dad and his son. That was a pretty cool moment. He came on the Colts and he was like, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. And Vinny was like, whoa, you're blah, blah, blah's kid. He's like, yeah, Vinny felt that was a low for Vinny. I think that was a moment where that was the first time I ever saw Vinny, like, I think look in the mirror and be like,
you know what they didn't have when Vinatieri was first drafted? AJ, I have a very important question for you after this, but I just want to mention that they didn't have Blue Apron when Adam Vinatieri came into the league. No, they didn't.
Nope.
The leading meal delivery kit service in the United States. And for 8 weeks, ending on February 26th, Blue Apron is teaming with Whole30 to bring you delicious recipes. Their menu will feature 2 Whole30 approved recipes each week, like Mexican spiced barramundi with avocado, togarashi chicken lettuce cups with avocado, kale and sweet potato salad.
Oh.
Kickstart your new year with Blue Apron and Whole30. Blue Apron delivers, as you guys know, fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and step-by-step recipes right to your door. It can be cooked in under 45 minutes. The menu changes every week based on what's in season and what's designed by Blue Apron's in-house culinary team. That's TEAM. As the great Norman Gale would say, 5 people working together for the greater good. The Blue Apron sends only non-GMO ingredients and meat with no added hormones. Blue Apron is also treating Laces Out listeners, that's you guys, for your loyalty. They're rewarding you with a $30 off your first order if you visit blueapron.com/laces. So check out this week's menu and get your $30 off with free shipping to blueapron.com/laces. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. AJ, I feel like this is the hardest play in all of sports, and it happened again today, where when Drew Brees went for the aforementioned 4th down pass and it got picked off, we can argue whether it got picked off or not or whatever, but how hard is it for a defensive player to not slap the ball to the ground in that situation? And you cost your team 16 yards, sometimes more, by going for it. How hard is it to just unlearn that behavior? Because I never see guys turn down the interception when it's presented to them, even though it hurts the team.
Well, that one I think is even a little more difficult than the usual. Normally we see it at the end of the half or end of a game, and it's like an easy. He launches one to the end zone, and a guy goes, and everyone knows, hey, knock it down. And a guy goes up and catches it. Everyone knows, hey, he just wants a cheap interception. And guys don't really blame the guy for that because that goes into their next contract. It goes to their stats. They want a new deal. They want more money, and they all count, every single one of them. I think it's Darren Sharper. Sharper's the one in jail, isn't he, for roofing girls? I think.
Yeah,
yes.
All
he's
over
known
the
for,
country.
Sharper had a ton of interceptions, but he has a ton of those garbage time end of game interceptions. But that one in the Panthers game, that one's a little more difficult because before that play, no one's sitting there saying, "Hey, if you have an easy pick, knock it down." That's not on the the top of their mind because, first off, I'm sure they were almost in shock that they actually were going for it because they came to the line, tried to get him to jump off sides, went to the sideline, came back, and still went for it. Like an absolute – if they don't end up winning that game, that's the worst call ever.
Gigantic sack on Sean Payton. Gigantic sack.
Is that what is it that or is it just I mean that's questionable play calling, no question.
Well, what's the greatest example of him showing a huge sack and it working out was the onside kick in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, against us. Thanks for bringing it up, Jerry.
Yeah,
Get fucked.
Exactly. That's the ultimate case of you wait until you see how it works out, and then you're either screaming that's genius or you're saying that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Always. That's everything in football, by the way. Every single play call, flea flicker, a fucking end around, a reverse, anything in football that is out of the ordinary of standard ass play is either genius or stupid, depending on how it works. Mike Adams, though, pops.
The fake punt play?
Ooh, should have just took a delayed game on that one. That's something hindsight. We definitely messed up. That Mike Adams, though, was a former teammate of mine. Pop's been around a long time. Old dude. I think he knew the situation, but I don't think he caught it. But you're in a bad situation as a player there, right? You're in a bad situation because he's almost done. I don't know, probably another year or two. He's an older gentleman. He came to the Colts. He was like a grizzled vet, and then he played with us for 4 or 5 years, and now he's on to another team. He's an incredible player, but I don't think he caught that. Like, whose job is it to who caught
was it under 2 minutes?
Yeah, it was under 2 minutes, like a minute 41 or something.
That's an automatic booth review because if you are the Saints, you don't want it reviewed because then it's gonna hurt you.
So New York should have stopped that, right? That should have been New York buzzing into old Carenti's arm and we gotta talk about that because those 20 yards are gigantic, by the way. Those are gigantic yards at the end of the game. Just like the missed field goal early by Graham Gano, who came back with a 58-yarder. That type of shit is gigantic later in the game. You never know when it happens, but god damn. I don't know if I could ever turn down a pick if I was ever in that opportunity, because when you retire, that pick's going to count whenever they introduce you to every single event you go into, every single thing you do. This guy had 27 interceptions in his career, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it all counts, man. Yeah. But I don't think it was a catch.
I got to give credit to Cam Newton for this, and sometimes he rubs me the wrong way. I don't think he's necessarily the guy who's good leading from behind, if that makes sense. Like, I think when you get down, I think he's a guy that drags everyone down. He didn't this game, and they were letting him down, and he was, that perfect pass in the end zone.
Oh,
they not only don't get the 7, they don't even get the 3. And I said, let's go. He's going to turtle. He's going to come out with his resting bitch face. And he kept them in that game, kept producing field goals anyway long enough to keep them in it. I give him credit. He played his balls off opposite Drew Brees, who was out of his mind for at least the first 3 quarters of the game.
The Minnesota Vikings are going to be so pissed that we haven't even talked about them. Like, we haven't even mentioned them as a potential team. What's that all about?
A potential home team in the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, right now, if I was picking a team out of the NFC, I think it's them. I just don't see anyone.
The Atlanta Falcons, I guess, right? The Atlanta Falcons are a team that can beat them, but goddamn, that defense in Minnesota is fucking outrageous. And if all of a sudden Case Keenum goes down, now they got goddamn Bridgewater and Bradford playing catch in practice. They got fucking an abundance of talent over there. Kyle Rudolph is a stud, and then that little white dude that runs a 4.4, Thielen, they could be a team that could make a run, but nobody gives a fuck because Minnesota is so cold and there ain't nobody around there. Nobody even talks about that. What if the Vikings make a play here? What if it's a Vikings, Tennessee Titans Super Bowl? You're talking about one of the most anticipated Super Bowls in history of in Minnesota, negative 20 degrees. Who the fuck is going to want to go there? Who knows? But I do know that if I'm betting on it, I'm betting that the game is going to be righteous. I'm betting that the Carolina Panthers are going to cover 7-point spread in New Orleans. I'm betting I'm betting that the Tennessee Titans are going to cover a 8.5-point dog, I believe, yesterday. I'm betting all the right bets except for one because the Falcons fucked the Los Angeles Rams. I'm 3-1 on the weekend. But you need to be betting too because the NFL playoffs are finally here, and I want to tell you where to make your money now. Go to mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag, the number one rated online sports book. With your fantasy football season over, the only way to use your sports knowledge, which isn't in abundance. If you're listening to this show, your football IQ is higher than everybody else's, even my bookie. So you're going to know who's going to win, how much you're going to win by, when they're going to win, and you need to bet it all so you can make your money now. If you don't know what's going to happen in football, and let's just say that's not true, by the way, because if you have a brain, everybody says sports gambling is for suckers. It's not. It's for the dumb people put a bad spin on it. If you have a little bit of football knowledge, you can make a lot of money. And you can make that money at mybookie.ag. If you don't want to bet on football, they have odds on everything. Literally everything. Create your own bet slips. Bet how you want. You bet your friends LeBron will score 30-plus and have 10 assists. Why not bet it at MyBookie and put your money where your mouth is? Bet from your desktop, tablet, or on their world-class mobile site that lets you bet anytime, anywhere. MyBookie offers fast, no-hassle payouts when you win. Join now. MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code LACES when making your account. Visit mybookie.ag today and use promo code LACES. You play, you win, you get paid. Go to MyBookie. I cannot wait to bet on the rest of the NFL season. I know who's going to win.
Hey, Jerry, you know what got me thinking? I know you love bulletin board material and you think it has played such a role in the games. How about the Eagles getting some bulletin board material from Vegas, making them home dogs starting out the playoffs for the first time ever, a team coming off a bye playing a home game against the Falcons as a 2.5-point dog?
Do you know what Rodney Harrison would have done with that? Because, I mean, they went through seasons where they were, double-digit favorites virtually every week, and he still managed to find ways to say, nobody thought we could do it. Nobody respects us. Doug Baldwin's been making a career out of that.
He said that to the media? He said that to the media?
Oh, all the time. Nobody thought we could do it. Like, okay, you were box-to-wire favorites to win the Super Bowl. You did. Everyone thought you were going to do it. But, yeah, if I'm, if I'm the Eagles, that's the mantra the whole week long, right? I mean, just because we don't have Carson Wentz. Nobody has respect for Nick Foles. And, what does that do for Nick Foles?
If you're the Eagles, you're thinking, damn, I wish we had Carson Wentz.
that doesn't give you a little extra, little spark.
I'm not saying Foles is good. He really is. But they were an elite team with Carson Wentz. I think they're good. I think they're good with Nick Foles.
I think there's a lot of guys. I think there's a lot of guys thinking, man, I hope we win against the Atlanta Falcons.
Exactly.
Man, I also hope we win the next game too, because winning the Super Bowl would be real fucking cool.
There's some old guys. Think about it, Pat. There's some old guys on the team like, man, I got here. We're really good now. This is my chance. I'm going to win the Super Bowl. No. Quarterback went down.
The great horse, the ginger horse that was supposed to take us to the Super Bowl paradise in Minnesota, all of a sudden is out. Now we got Foles. Hey, let's see if we can make something happen. But you know what? Vegas said we're 2.5-point underdogs. Vegas said we can't even. It's going to be within a field goal, but we're not going to win. So we're going to play harder, right, AJ?
Oh, yeah. Think about their practice. They're going to be killing each other, dialed in. They're going to be
2.5 points. 2.5 points is probably a chant that they'll have all week, I bet. I bet you they'll be chanting that all fucking week.
Bulletin board. They're going to come into their team meeting Monday morning. Doug Peterson's going to put it right on the board. Minus 2.5 or plus 2.5, however they want to do it.
Did you guys know sports gambling that you are not allowed to do has you at an underdog at home in Philadelphia in front of the greatest fans in the NFL? Well, what are you going to do about it, boys? Well, I hope we do our jobs right, man. I just hope we play well because the internet will roast us if we don't do our job well.
Did these conversations about betting lines actually come up in locker rooms? I feel like would be kind of weirdly verboten, like a real playing with fire.
Can you define verboten for us, please?
Forbidden.
Oh,
it's German for not allowed.
I knew, but I just wanted Pat to.
Okay.
I did not have a fucking clue what that is.
I did not know at all. I was trying to.
You guys are in the Midwest. There is 1,000,000 times more Germans out where you guys are than there are where I am, right? Isn't that where they all settled out there?
So not only do we not know what it means, but you know the origins of the word. How are we supposed to know that?
Yeah, you know what? I took 3 years of German in high school. You had to take a language that was mine. It has never come up, not one fucking time. It's completely useless.
Ein gross Bier bitte.
Yeah, see that will just get you blank stares in the Irish pubs where I hang out.
That's one large beer, please. Right? I knew I went to Germany. I ended up in a rave at 3 a.m. Came out of a blackout in the middle of Du Hast, Mitch. I was having the time of my life. Thought I was going to die right there in Munich. It was a good time. Ein gross Bier bitte, though, will get you in some shit.
Did you roofie yourself?
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, I was at the Hofbrauhaus there in Munich. I think I might have chugged no less than, I don't know, 10 to 20 of them things.
Okay.
I was having
Pat,
a good old time.
I thought of you
when you were with Aaron Rodgers. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I thought of you during the Falcons game.
Thanks.
So the Falcons gained 2 turnovers off of special teams, correct?
Special teams matter, bro.
That's a guarantee. That's almost 100% lock for victory when you turn 2 times. The Rams turn it over on special teams.
Yeah, you
for
can't
10 points.
You turn over the ball, it's points too normally. So it's guaranteed points normally in a special teams turnover. So if it's like a punt muff, normally you're going to end up with points immediately if you kick on first down. Kickoff, same thing. Normally, turnovers are called points on special teams because you're basically guaranteed points when that happens. And those are the players you don't think about either. Like Cooper, obviously you do, but like in special teams games, you got a lot of young guys playing in these playoffs. They haven't been talked about all week. This is their first playoff experience. They don't want to get cut. They don't want to be the reason the team loses, make a big mistake out of nowhere, a block in the back, out of nowhere, fuck your team over with field position, all those things. Special teams very much change games, especially playoffs. It's a big deal in the playoffs.
Yeah. You know who can play the no respect card coming from this podcast, and that's Tennessee. Because the other day we gave them 0 shot of going to Kansas City and winning.
I bet on them, though. We all knew they were going to cover 8.5. Nobody had a clue they were going to win, though. I mean, Jesus Christ.
My God.
Until the Alex Smith trade talk comes right before the fucking game. Then it's like,
Andy Reid has a lot to answer for. So this is a guy who's always capable of getting you to just pretty good, but never beyond that. And complete lack of, situations, and, a team just not prepared. And Darrelle Revis is a disgrace. I'm sorry. He took that money from the guaranteed, whatever it was, 39 million from the Jets, and shut it the hell down. And he was flat out avoiding contact. I mean, I know I shouldn't sit here and say that. I shouldn't question Cam Newton's injuries and Darrelle Revis making a business decision on a tackle because I'm a guy who sits at a laptop all day and writes. But he was flat out avoiding contact.
How about he batted the ball right back to Mariota, too? Not a bad little give and go Mariota had there with that tutter.
Do you know what that is in fantasy, by the way? I was at a bar next, if you can imagine me watching a game from a bar, next to a guy who had Mariota in fantasy. He gets credit for the touchdown pass and the touchdown reception on the same play.
Wow. Good for him. First ever playoff touchdown. Threw one to himself. What a guy. Good for Mariota. All right, so what do we got next week? Who are we?
Okay.
We think Pittsburgh's going to kill Jacksonville?
And then I'm trying to check right now. At the moment, what is the line for the Tennessee Patriots game?
14.
Oh my gosh! In the playoff, 14 is so. For people that aren't gamblers, 14 is an absolute gigantic NFL line. Correct, Jerry?
Absolutely.
Playoff too.
Bulletin board. Titans are going to come out playing hard, Pat.
That's the Patriots against the Giants.
I'll tell you what, I've lost my 50 up there in Foxborough, though. I could see this. I don't think 14. Oh, that's a big one. That's a good that's a good line by Vegas.
If the weather's nice and the Patriots and Tom can throw it, the line could be 30.
It's supposed to be around 30 and rainy.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
and 14 might be good then.
Well, you got a soft ball up there too.
I would have preferred it been like it's been all week, like when you guys were dealing with your -5s and and the Bombo Genesis or whatever. I would have preferred that because it's Tennessee. I was at the game.
Why would you have preferred that? Why would you prefer like freezing cold?
Because the Patriots tend to thrive in that kind of environment.
Yeah, but I feel like the ground and pound of Derrick Henry being 50 pounds or whatever he is. That's a guy that thrives in the cold. That's like a cold weather. Mariota too. I think better weather is better for Tom Brady in my eyes. I'm not sure, but obviously
for any quarterback. And quarterback on the planet.
Obviously, he's won a lot of games, though, in terrible weather up there.
I was at the playoff game against Tennessee in 2003, where it was the coldest game in the history of New England football. It was -3 at kickoff. And it sounds like one of those stories like your grandfather talked about walking to school or whatever. But my cousin was with me, bought a bottle of water at halftime, and it froze in his hand before he got to the seat. That's a true story. And Tennessee still almost won it. There was like Steve McNair threw a bomb late in the game that should have been caught, and it would have kept the game going. It would have gotten them back in it. So, Tennessee, you're not going to get a decided weather advantage from Tennessee that they would have gotten had, say, I don't know, it was Jacksonville coming to town.
What are you talking about? You got to talk about the offensive style.
Yeah, but the Patriots just are always prepared for that stuff. The worse the weather, the more they dominate. They had a game, now that I think of it, it was against Tennessee back in like 2008, I think.
Was that when Mariota and Derrick Henry were there and they were running the ball?
They won 59-0 in a minor snowstorm. It's just, that's their shit. That's what they love. You know who absolutely loved the warm weather? I can't believe they didn't make more noise at the game, but Bills Mafia. What a great day for them, aside from the fact that they've scored 3 points in the 21st century in the playoffs. But guys taking pictures with OJ.
The juice. I don't know if he was in Vegas at a watch party, because Darren Ravel tweeted that he's in Vegas. I saw a palm tree in the background of that one photo, though. I don't know where he was.
He lives in Florida, though, and the game was in Jacksonville, so I'm sure he just drove down.
So Darren Ravel lied to everybody. That's ESPN, by the way. That's what ESPN does. They lie to people, so just remember that. Lock it down. What's that, Jerry?
A lot of that this week. Yeah, I just assumed he was in Jacksonville. Guys were wearing the Juice's loose shirts.
He looked pretty good, didn't he, though? The Juice, I saw the pictures. I'm like, man, this dude, he looks pretty good.
He's the best-looking alleged murderer I think I've ever seen at a NFL game.
An NFL game. Yeah, I was going to say, like, Ted Bundy was a handsome guy.
Yeah. That's it.
OJ looked good, though. I mean.
You know what? He lost his prison weight. Prison is like getting your freshman 15.
Yeah.
You eat a lot of carbs. You don't take good care of yourself or whatever. But now that he's out, he's clearly doing.
But think about
CrossFit or something.
Jerry, think about this though. If you're a sociopath and you have no record, you just don't. You have no idea of anything of anyone else's feelings but your own, and you don't care about anything. I doubt he's had any stress in his life ever.
He just turns that shit off, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, what do you mean? Like, oh, is anything I ever do and kill people? How will that affect anybody else on the planet? Well, I've never thought about that. I've never thought about anyone else's feelings before. Therefore, he has no stress, no anxiety. And if OJ hears this for some reason, I'm just joking. So don't worry about it. And I live in Indianapolis, right by Pat. OJ, I don't live in Ohio.
Love you, OJ. You were great in the Naked Gun movies.
Let's change the topic.
Is there any doubt?
What honestly, what happened? I didn't see the Titans play a whole lot this year, but they showed the stats before the game. Mariota had 13 touchdowns and 15 picks this year. First off, how are they in the second round of the playoffs, and how did he have such a dramatic decline in his career?
He's only got one wide receiver. I mean, Eric Decker, I guess, had a little case of the drops. Happy he got a touchdown. Things aren't going that well for him. His whole life isn't just perfect, but I'm happy he came back. Delaney Walker was his only guy, though. So you got Eric Decker and Delaney Walker, and then they were run-based. I mean, it was just not a good situation. I have no idea. He seems to be such like a level-headed dude, and the Titans are always like the next. They're going to come up just like Saxonville. They're going to come, but who knows, man? That whole. Yeah. Can I say something real quick? This just got reported. Cam Jordan of the New Orleans Saints just called Panthers left tackle Matt Khalil speed bump McGee. He said.
Why the hatred for him? I mean, you beat him senseless all game long. He's the one who put that final kill shot on Cam Newton.
I'm assuming that's been a built-up thing. They play each other a lot, right? And then you finally get a game-winning play on that guy. Oh. I mean, that's and his season's over, so you can't do anything next week. You just end that guy's entire offseason with you just kick it off with a bang. Speed bump McGee. Yep. What a fucking nickname. I love that.
might as well just teabag him. Yeah, right, because they played 3 times this year. Mm-hmm. They won all 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's got to be bad blood there.
Do you ever hate anybody, AJ? Did you and a guy hate each other? Like some guy was a little cheap maybe a couple times after a play, and you were like, "Hey, pal, knock it off."
Hey, pal, knock it off.
Hey,
yeah,
Bob.
there's definitely guys that if you remember, we the guy for the Lions, their center, Dominic Raiola, that dude, he played really hard. He was an absolute. He would dive at people's legs. He would try to finish the pile all the time, and you'd watch him on film, and be like, man, he's always fighting with guys. And I played him so much that it grew into, I feel like, a healthy respect both ways, to where I would talk. I'm like, come on, man, don't blow my ACL out. We would have like a healthy back and forth and try to kill each other at the same time. And he's always, I knew exactly who he was, and I would tell him, I'm like, man, trust me, I wish every O-lineman that I played with was like that. You want your O-linemen to all be those cheap shot, nasty dudes. And if they're not that way, you always wish they would be more like that, and protect your players, protect your quarterback. He is that guy. So ultimately you respect it, but it gets annoying sometimes playing against him.
You're politicking before the game though, right? With him? You talked to him before the game?
I never talked before the game, but my buddy Nick Barnett, who I played with for a long time, used to get in fights with him pregame almost every time we faced him.
Good. I like that move. Kind of fire him up right before the game starts. I would always talk to the returners before every game. Always. Full conversation.
I never saw anybody. I didn't go out in the field early and try to get some camera time, so I never saw anybody before the game.
Well, I only get to warm up on the field whenever you guys aren't out there, so I have to be out there. But the returners are always out there, and I try to just win them over. Like, hey, man, you're so good, bro. You're so fast. You're electric. Real game breaker. Hey, we get in the open field together. Like, don't run me over. That's all I ask. Like, do not fucking run me over. That's all and then they always respond like, man, I see you. And they're like real nice. I get along with everybody except for Julian Edelman. That motherfucker wouldn't even look at me. I was like, hey, man. Like his first year, he was a punt returner. I'm like, hey, man, good luck, bro. You're really fucking talented. A white guy, too. That's awesome. Good to see you. Like, hey, if we get in the open field, don't run me over, okay? That'd be great. And he just didn't even budge. Just caught a punt and just kept it moving right by me. I'm like, fuck, that dude's going to run me over if he gets a chance. That's not good.
See, because he strikes me as a guy who yaps all the time.
He didn't. I think he is, though. That's why he didn't enjoy my antics of complimenting him so much. I don't think he wanted to be friends. And
He knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I was trying to get him on my side. Hey, fair catches are all right, too. I can do that whole thing. Fair catches are okay, too. Win-win for everybody. You don't turn the ball over. You don't make a bad play. We don't give up a return. All these things are good, boys. All these things are good.
Hey, Pat, do you think a guy is taking the easy way out when he fair catches? Every once in a while, not in the NFL much anymore because it's just stupid, but you'll hear of a guy like, I'll never fair catch a ball.
Pac-Man Jones.
Does Pac-Man not fair catch?
I don't think he's ever fair caught one.
He has now. I play with him. I feel like Pac will fair catch every once in a while.
I don't think so, but we had a couple reads on some guys that as soon as their head would Pez dispenser just a little bit, as soon as their jaw would go up just a little bit, it was an immediate fair catch. So you game plan for dudes that fair catch a lot. I mean, you game plan for that. You're like, okay, if I just it doesn't have to be as directionally good. If I just get this thing up in the air, old buddy will fair catch it quick for me, which is a win-win for everybody. I mean, a fair catch is a win. Don't worry about that, returners. You can fair catch all the time. Punter will love it. That'd be great for everybody. And your
especially
team,
if you charm them out of running it back on you. That's some good psychological warfare there. Like, get in their heads. Make them like you so they'll feel guilty for every yard that they gain.
Yep. And then after they do gain a return, like if somebody doesn't fair catch it and then they get blown up after like a 4-yard return, boy, I'm right there too as soon as they get up. Like, was it worth it? Was that worth it? Was that worth it? We could have just had a fair catch. We could have had a fair catch. There's a lot of funny giving, but I respect the hell out of returners. Usually they're the most athletic dudes on the field, so I respect the hell out of them. It's just one of those things where I don't want to get my face kicked in like Antonio Brown, motherfucker. All right.
So we gotta get through the games real quick, and then we gotta get Pat and his staff home before the freezing rain comes.
I think it already started.
As really, all right, we'll get you out of here. Tennessee at New England. Clearly, the Patriots have no chance. Everybody hates each other. It's civil war down there. It's going to be Belichick's last game. He's going to be coaching the Giants. The sky is falling. The rivers are running backwards. The dead are rising from the grave here, guys. It's horrible. It's a terrible thing. ESPN told the truth that once again. So screw that. Atlanta at Philly. The road favorites. Do they? AJ, I feel like you have backed this horse all year long, and you've been right on them. Do you like them in this one?
I do like Atlanta in this one. It's the line's 2.5. I like Atlanta to win. They'll probably cover as well. Going on the road it's not a huge deal. A lot of times it's good. I mean, Matt Ryan, his wife's pregnant with twins. He has already 1 or 2 other kids. it's all right for him to go to a hotel and get some good sleep for a couple nights if they go there 2 days before the game.
Nice, nice. You just told your wife you love to get out of town. I heard it.
I'll get out of town. I'll get out of town.
I heard you say.
Guys.
I heard you just say. You just said you like to get out of town.
I'm saying it's not like a big deal to fly on a plane when they get plenty of leg room and they have all the food and Gatorade and water they can get from the flight attendants. It's not like a huge deal to travel. And people are like, oh my gosh, they're gonna fly all the way cross country. Okay.
You guys had nice planes, huh? You guys had nice planes?
No, we didn't.
Our planes were shit, bro. Our planes were shit and our hotels were shit.
I would think Ursay would have you guys have your own deal.
That would have been nice. Well, you would think that too. I would have thought that too. Planes were terrible, and the hotels were the worst hotels in every city, including this city whenever we were in it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if that's changed since Ballard got in, but boy, it really seemed, and it only started happening. I mean, it happened when the new regime came in. Everything just went to shit. I don't know what happened. We started just saving money on everything. I don't know what happened, but I didn't enjoy away games at all. I really didn't like them. I hated them.
I didn't say I enjoy them. I'm saying it doesn't like put the team in peril and a bunch of stress to play an away game.
Yeah, you're 100% right, though, because I did get good sleep because, I mean, I had Ambien on deck, right? I mean, that was right there. I did get good sleep. You're 100% right, though. There's not a lot of distraction. It's a good escape, like kind of the night before. But, man, it'd be nice to be in a nice hotel. That would have been fucking real nice. I mean, that's why I worked my ass off to get wealthy, so I could stay in fucking nice hotels. I stayed in motels with my fucking dad. What are we doing?
Hey, on the topic of having the baby, who's the defensive tackle from the Saints they thought his wife went into labor, and it turned out she just had, like,
96 or something. 96.
Yeah, but he's playing the game. I respect him. I respect that play by him, not because he shouldn't be in the delivery room, but because no man should be in the delivery room. I've done it twice. It's like a crime scene in there, Pat. Like, you want nothing to do with it. You have to go somewhere between my dad's generation, where it was never done, to my generation, it's unthinkable not to go. I respect a guy who says, I play 16, maybe 19 games a year. Honey, you're just going to have to do this on your own. I'm not an obstetrician. You don't need me there. Just because I would rather get my brains bashed in by an offensive line than to witness that again. So good for him. AJ, you look horrified that I'm saying this.
No. Obviously I was there and stayed in the hospital on the little couch and everything. But I talked to guys like, oh yeah, I had a video camera. I was right up there with the birth. No, I was in the room for all four of my kids. But you stay up top. I would stay right up top.
That's what I did.
And rub you're doing great, and not my wife didn't want me down there anyway, and I wasn't going to. It's you're right. It looks like a crime scene.
Yeah, the midwife invited me down that end of the bed, and I just said, you know what? I think I'm just going to keep a little bit of an air of mystery
to this. What the fuck's a midwife? That's a swingers?
Yeah, no, it's just
what the fuck's a midwife?
She runs the tripod and the camera.
It's the lady who births the baby. Like, she's not a doctor. That's what she does full time.
Really?
She sits there with the catcher's mitt. Right.
That's some kind of that's a fancy thing. We had doctors deliver all my kids.
Midwife. What is the name? How does that even begin? What is?
It's an old school expression for a occupation that still exists. You're just birthing.
You're a
That's
nurse.
all. And if they need a doctor, they call one. But you know how when you go to your car's in the shop and the mechanic brings you in and just starts talking jargon about what's underneath the hood, and you just feel like completely worthless and like not much of a man. Oh yeah, well, you know what we're going to do is we got to reroute the Frisenstad in through the serpentine belt, and that's what it's like being in the delivery room. Like, I'm useless. I'm taking up space. You people are competent. I should be out there having coffee and just waiting to find out if it's a boy or a girl. So respect to any player in the NFL who uses a game as an excuse not to be there, right?
That whole oil change thing. That whole oil change thing is so fucked up, man. They ask me, they think I'm like some Superman. I don't fucking know, bro. Put in the oil that's supposed to be in there. I don't want my air filter changed because I heard this is just a hustle bet out of y'all motherfucker. I don't know. Well, we think we got a blah, blah, blah to the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I called my dad, and then my dad calls me a pussy for not knowing what that is. I'm like, yeah, I had ADD when I was a kid. What do you want? I didn't sit around and watch you fix shit. Get me out of here.
They do it just to tell you that they're more manly than you are, that they can fix shit, that they work with their hands. And same with the midwife. She just wanted to lord it over me. I've seen a lot of babies come out of a lot of birth canals, pal. Do you want to come look at this? Like, no, I don't want that.
That midwife has seen a lot of vagina.
more than OJ seeing right now, and you know he's seeing it. Like, there's nothing women love more for some reason than a guy who's been to prison. I don't get it.
What?
You know, Charles Manson got married in jail to like a 23-year-old.
Yeah, those
like
are all the
3 years ago.
I think there's a select group of like those people out there. I don't think like you said. You just painted a very broad brush. There ain't nothing women love more than a guy that's been to jail. Like, you painted a very broad brush there. I don't think.
Fair enough. I should rephrase that and say that guys who have been to jail have no problem meeting women.
They have that crew.
Better way to say it.
Yeah, there's a crew of women. You watch Rough and Rowdy on February 16th. You'll see a lot of guys who are in between jail stints fighting against each other with women from their prison dating time, walking around the ring. And the big homie, Sean Latham, will be fighting an unknown victim on February 16th from Morgantown, West Virginia, Rough and Rowdy. Get your tickets. Don't get tickets. Just get ready to watch the massacre on pay-per-view.
All right, and getting back to your home state, Pat, Jacksonville at Pittsburgh, you've seen enough of that defense to think that they can slip by here, or is it just Blake Bortles? Blake Bortles was the most inaccurate passer I have ever seen in my life today, and it not like the wind was that. It was the one club wind, as we say in golf, and they were acting like he was throwing in the polar vortex.
Yeah, Jacksonville can be a very swirly place, though. I got a chance to play down there a lot. Those winds can come and go as they please. That's what happens when you're on a beach. Things come and go. And every time they put up that little fucking windometer thing or whatever it is, why don't they point in the direction the camera is facing, by the way? When that thing's on, they like have it facing directly left at like 3 miles an hour, and they're like, the wind's at his back at 3 miles an hour. I'm like, well, that graphic sure makes it look like it's a right to left, doesn't it? Like, what the fuck? That's like, I don't understand the people that have their GPS on their map, their Google Maps, like follow the direction that they're facing. Like, I don't get it. Like, why don't we just have, like, I don't get it. Anyways.
Have it head up. Yeah, you got to go to settings, head up. And so it's like you're with you.
Yes, you're on that side, right? I'm on you. You're with me. But I just think Ben Roethlisberger, who's almost retired 3 times this season, wants to win and keep it moving. I think Antonio Brown's back looking healthy. I think they showed him doing one-on-ones against Ocho Cinco. I believe it was Ocho Cinco in the film, and he looks good. Antonio Brown's the most dynamic human to step on a football field. It's just another level when he's out there. Plus, you got the alien Martavis Bryant on the other side and young little Juju Smith-Schuster out there balling with a defense that was able to give up James Harrison, who had 3 sacks for the Patriots. The defense that was just able to give him up. So I think the Steelers are going to be tough to beat, and I cannot wait for the rematch against the Patriots, especially with how shitty the last one ended. It was like just such an epic game. I'm excited for it.
And then we got New Orleans and Minnesota. I'm impressed as hell by New Orleans on both sides of the ball. I think ultimately we're going to decide that this was one of the great draft classes of all time. I mean, Alvin Kamara plays his balls off. I've said to you before, I think Lattimore is the best cornerback in football, not the best rookie cornerback. I think he's as good as there is in the game right now. I think it's a great game.
He's great. Jalen Ramsey, I like that dude. Man. He's an absolute stud.
He is, isn't he? He got pushed off today and still made a fucking back foot breakup play. He's a wild animal, that dude. He screams.
That's what you have. You need that. Don't you think you need that, Pat? As a corner, your corner needs to. If you're a cornerback and you lose your confidence, I cannot. It's already the hardest position. I mean, quarterback, I always say, is the toughest position in all of pro sports. But to be a matched up corner, like when you know you're going to be covering their best guy every week,
a depressed single corner.
Can you imagine how tough that would be?
No. Right.
He needs to be so over the top arrogant when he's on the field, and that's what Jalen Ramsey is. I don't know what he's like off the field, but I love how he plays, and I think people will see what he says and everything, but it doesn't matter. When he plays the way he does, you need that. As a corner, there's certain positions when you have to be that way.
He's had some hilarious moments.
The Patriots drafted Devin McCourty originally as a corner, and he had a great rookie season. He had the best rookie season I've ever seen someone on that team have. But year 2, the first week out, he got burned repeatedly by Brandon Marshall, and then the next week it was someone from San Diego. I'll think of who it was, just another stud. and he was never the same guy. And they eventually had to move him to safety. And I talked to a writer who said, yeah, his confidence went all to hell after having back-to-back tough weeks. And I get what you're saying. It's like a closer in baseball. You have to be able to just forget the last time you got toasted.
Yeah, it's like Roger Clemens back in the day when he was allegedly possibly taking some Mexican supplements, and a guy, Mike Piazza, hits a broken bat back to him, and he throws the sword of a bat at him as he's jogging down the first base line. He couldn't touch Roger mentally, and I think that's why he was so good.
And they goddamn broke him. Well, listen, I like New Orleans on both sides of the ball. That said, Minnesota's loaded. That could be the best team in football, even on their second quarterback. They're at home. I haven't seen the line on that one, Patrick. Have you?
No, I was just looking it up, actually, trying to figure out, because I like Minnesota because nobody's talking about them. And also, I bet on the Saints like 4 weeks straight in the middle of the season. They lost for me. The line's 4. Who's favored?
Got to be the home team, right?
Minnesota.
Minnesota's favored by 4? Dude, they've got no respect the entire year. I would not have been surprised right there if they were the dogs. I think they'll cover 4, though. I think they'll win by at least 7. I think that.
You think the Vikings will?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Their defense is unbelievable. Their defense is really, really good. I just don't know. I have no idea. It depends. If Case Keenum has an average, or let's say if he has a below average game, they could get beat pretty good.
He's not going to.
I hope not.
Case Keenum just slings the rock, bro. That's all he does.
But you saw what the Saints did today with Cam Newton. They can put some serious pressure on you.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But the difference is that they don't have Speed Bump McGee playing left tackle.
Good point. But the Vikings have Khalil's brother, Speed Bump McGee's brother.
So now he's got a grudge.
Oh my!
He's got
bulletin board material for his brother.
This one's for Big Bro. You're right.
This one's for the big brother. I ain't Speed Bump McGee Jr. I'll tell you that.
All right, well, fellas, this was a great time. Love playoff time. Love this weekend in particular, but I think next weekend's going to be even better. Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, I'm Jerry Thornton. Thanks again. Follow at Laces Out.